9 reasons you don't want to be a trucker. I've been trucking for about 4 years now. I've been all over the country. I've been at a couple different companies, and I can tell you the reasons you don't want to be in trucking. The reason I'm telling you this is so you can make an educated decision as to whether you want to join this or not, because it can be a big sacrifice. Number one, you will die early. According to the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, you will die on average about 15 years younger than the average American. So you're giving up a lot of your life, potentially. It's very hard to take care of your health when you're out here. You're sitting on your butt a really long time. You're driving through some very questionable weather. You're dealing with some psychopaths on the road often. Fortunately, they're all over the place. So your life expectancy takes a serious hit, especially if you're eating the fast food at the truck stops. There are ways to prevent yourself from dying so soon, such as working out, eating better over the road, and making sure you don't drive in really bad weather. Number two, overworked. You're going to work 70 hours a week, up to. This is not a normal 9 to 5 job. You're going to be working a lot, and home time is not very often. You will likely be underpaid. A lot of companies in this country just simply don't pay a lot. I believe it's just barely over the national average, which for the amount of hours you're working, it's not very much for all the sacrifice you're giving. Now, I work for one of the best paid trucking companies in the country, GP Transco. Besides them, it's like Walmart. This is the top two. It's about as good as it gets. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in trucking. This is a really good company to be in. Number four, you have the potential of jail time. Are you prepared to go to jail? Because one mistake over the road, and that could be you. I heard of a guy that actually went to jail. Well, he at least got over 100 years of jail time. They wanted to give him that because he killed several people when his brakes went out when he was going down a large hill. He didn't take the off-ramp, barreling down the mountain, kills several people. And because of the law there, that amounted up to over 100 years in prison. So if you're going to do this, you need to take this very seriously, because one mistake, you're in prison. Another guy was texting while going through an intersection, killed someone. He's in prison. This isn't a normal job. Normal jobs, you don't end up in prison typically. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind. And number five, one accident can end your career, kind of like how you heard in the last one. You might not kill someone, but you might lose your license. So not only will you end your career, you're going to have a really hard time getting any job because you're going to be riding your bike there. So safety is priority. Number six, you're going to be away from family and friends. You're going to be spending a lot of time in isolation, and you're going to become kind of a stranger to your family. I know for me, I am out for like 3 months at a time. Now, I don't have to. My company gives you up to 7 days off if you're out for 7 weeks. So I get 1 week home for 7 weeks out. That's the best you can get, except for special circumstances. That's kind of the norm in the industry. There's few trucking places you're going to get to go home very often, and if you do, you're going to make significantly less. I know I came home after a while over the road, and I lost like 20 pounds. And I came back, and I showed my younger sister a picture of what I used to look like. And I was heavy. And she's like, "You used to look like that?" Like, yes, I used to look like that. What are you talking about? And that's how long I've been gone. She literally forgot what I looked like. So that's a very serious consideration. How much is that worth to you? If you don't have kids, maybe not that big of a deal, especially if you don't have a relationship either. Because relationship or kids will be very hard to do while you're over the road. Some truckers do it. I have no idea how they do it. I mean, good on them. Depression and suicide, very serious topics. Being alone in isolation, it's linked to higher rates of depression and suicide. So that is something you need to consider, is the psychological, the mental effect on you of being out here and working long hours, being alone in isolations. Perhaps you can manage that and you can cope with it. I know for me, I deal with depression sometimes. I have some dark thoughts come to my head. I'm not suicidal or anything, but that's something I have to deal with. And I journal, I've done therapy. I'm not really huge into that, but I prefer calling friends and actually talking to people I know personally and exercising, stuff like that. So taking into consideration the mental toll it'll have to take all the time in isolation, which is recognized by doctors, psychologists, and even world religions. In the Bible, it says it is not good to be alone. Low quality of life. You're going to be living in a truck. You're a truck driver now. Unless you're going to be on a local route. You could be home daily, even, if you want to be a local driver. If you're an over-the-road driver, you're going to be living in a truck. You're going to live in the bed they have in the back, which actually isn't that bad. It's a bit cozy. But that is something you're going to have to take into consideration because you have no access to a bathroom. You're going to pee in a bottle. At some point, I've heard of one guy ever who has not peed in a bottle. You're going to. And you might be in a horrible circumstance where you got to crap in a trash bag. That happens. No toilet. You're somewhere where you can't use the bathroom. It happens. You got to do what you got to do. Limited access to the gym. Some people go. I used to go every Sunday to Planet Fitness, which that's pretty good if you're traveling. You can go to Planet Fitness wherever you want. But I just work out wherever I'm at. Save the money. So it can be good. Lack of parking. It's going to be very hard for you to get parking. There's such a huge shortage in the country. It's going to prevent you from even making as much as you could. And there's nothing you can do about it. The government just decided they are going to regulate us from driving, but not provide us ample parking. And you have to deal with the police, potentially. A lot of drivers park along on and off ramps and just wherever. I mean, you have to make a spot. It's literally impossible for all trucks to park at the same time. There's several 100,000 publicly marked truck spots, parking spots. There's several million truckers. The math doesn't add up. It's not possible. And most people like sleeping at night. So you will have to deal with that. That's just a huge annoyance in the industry. It's recognized as a problem. And the government has yet to really solve it. I don't really think they're going to anytime soon, anyways. I hope they do. And number 10, this is a dead-end job. And what I mean by that is I don't mean you can't have a good life if you like this lifestyle and make some good money. You can make good money with the right companies. But we are going to be replaced by artificial intelligence at some point, and I'm talking to young people specifically. I don't know when self-driving trucks are really going to become a thing, but they're going to. It's simply a matter of time and when they get the technology right. Because right now, they're testing these trucks on the road.
Aurora's home for testing these semis for the past few years.
If you're a truck driver with just like regular experience, you get in this truck and it feels just like any other truck.
On dedicated routes. And what you're going to see is long haul, consistent routes. Simple routes, the easy stuff is going to get taken over first. And then the more complex city routes, we will still do. But what you're going to see is slowly trucker jobs are going to get replaced. We're going to have a bunch of truckers and we're going to be paid significantly less because there's going to be less jobs and more truckers, which means less pay because there's just too many truckers. So my perspective with that is it's just not a long-term solution. I am investing in my business to transition out so I can start a family. That's my plan. I think it's a really good plan if you want to just come in, get some cash, and get out. That's a good plan. If you really love trucking and you want to get in it, go for it. But now you're aware of the sacrifices you'll have to make and what kind of problems you're going to run into. And that is why I shared that with you. The best company I could probably recommend for new drivers is probably rail transportation. They're very safe. I'm not really sure about other companies. That's the one I came into the trucking industry for. Realize this, when you come in, you're going to get paid dirt cheap because they're going to pay for your CDL and you'll make like $45,000 your first year. And the company I work for is GP Transco. I mean, drivers here, I've seen several make $100,000. I don't quite push as hard as them and live in the truck all year long. I actually go home at some point. So mine's closer to 80, but you can make some really good money as a trucker. And this is a really good company. They don't push you to drive in unsafe conditions ever. They treat you very good. And I'm not saying they're perfect. No company is, ever. No industry, no job. You're never going to find the perfect place. But if you are interested in joining GP Transco, they do require 1 year's experience. And if you'd like to get help getting a job here, look in the description. You can reach out to me. And if I think you're a good fit, I will let you use me as a referral. and I'll put a good word in for you so it can help you get the job. Besides that, thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a thing about trucking and the potential hazards you may run into as you come into the industry, but hopefully that will help you make a better decision as to whether you do or do not want to join trucking. And feel free, all the other truckers, if I'm wrong on something you think, let me know in the comments. Or if there's something I missed, go ahead and let the guys that are trying to make a decision know what that is. Besides that, stay blessed.